Hey Waffle Gang, I do hope you are well. My name is Mark and today we're checking out some more Reddit stories, and if you do love a Reddit story, why not consider hitting that like, subscribe, maybe that notification bell too, and let's crack on with today's first story. Much love guys. Now today's first story is one that was covered 5 months ago from today by myself, but it's come in with a new update, so if you do want to skip parts of the story, please feel free to do so. Timestamps are always down in the description and along the timeline below. This is from Lurked in Away 85 from the Relationship Advice subreddit. It contains talk of death of a loved one, grief, and domestic assault, so you know where those timestamps are. It's titled, My 38 Female, Sister 34 Female, made up a dead brother to her spouse, 35 male, and in-laws 60s, male and female. I accidentally outed the lie. But why am I the bad guy here? Usually a lurker, but something happened tonight that has me incredibly confused. Apologies in advance for the length. Backstory, I'm the eldest of 4 sisters. We're stair-stepped, 2 years apart. I'm Meg, 38. Joe is 36, Beth is 34, and Amy is 32. Our parents used to joke about how they kept trying for a boy but finally gave up after girl number 4. Not gonna lie, it hurt our feelings a little, especially Amy. But they stopped that and assured us they wouldn't change anything. Every one of us has at least one daughter, and the only sister that has a son. At 17, he's the eldest grandchild, and I'm fairly certain he's my dad's favorite person in the world. They are best friends, and it's adorable. Okay, now that you have the backstory / family history, let's talk about tonight. My son, who is very intelligent and absolutely crushed high school, recently received his acceptance letter to a pretty prestigious university. Full ride. We're incredibly proud. My folks wanted to throw him a little congratulatory party, and tonight worked for all of our schedules, which is no small feat. 4 different families with 11 kids between them. So we all headed to the folks' house for pizza and cake. At one point, Amy brought up that it is Sibling Appreciation Day, and my mum said she wanted all of her girls to say what we appreciated about our sisters, and we go youngest to eldest, with most of the compliments going to me, as I was kind of a second mum to them. I told each of my sisters how much I love them, among other things, and then finished my speech off saying something like, and I really appreciate that we didn't have any gross boys stinking up our house. All of us but Beth and her husband laughed. Beth's eyes got really big and her husband, Chase, looked at me like I was something he scraped off the bottom of his shoe. Suddenly he says, "That's pretty fucked up." I said something like, "I don't know, Chase, I've smelled you after your workouts. It's pretty bad." And he got even more mad and said, "How could you talk about Tyler like that?" And Beth starts losing her mind, guys. She's grabbing him by the arm and begging him to hush, saying they need to go home now, etc. So naturally I'm like, who's Tyler? Well friends, apparently Tyler is Beth's twin that died during childbirth, and it made our folks and me so depressed that nobody is allowed to speak of him or reference him ever. Beth forbade him for ever mentioning to any family member. After Chase told us this, nobody said a word. It was so damn tense. Finally, I just kind of bluntly said, "I'm not sure why, but Beth lied to you about this. I think you guys should talk about it, but I don't want to hear anything else about this tonight, as we're here to celebrate my son." After that, Beth burst into tears and ran into her old bedroom, with Chase, Mum, and Joe following her. The party never fully recovered, and they took off pretty shortly after that. I stayed behind to help clean, and so my dad and son could hang some more. While I'm doing the dishes, my mum scolded me pretty harshly about calling Beth a liar. "If the baby shoe fits, mother." My dad said I wasn't wrong, but I embarrassed Beth. What the hell was I supposed to do? I was getting chastised over a lie. Absolutely not. Beth also texted me that I fucked her over, and a text from Chase's phone told me I was the actual liar sister, and everyone knows that. Amy is on my side, but she and Beth always butted heads. Joe claims she's neutral, but she also told me I didn't have to call her out like that. What the hell was I supposed to do? Just take the lashing? And why is everyone acting like me calling out what I consider to be a pretty heavy lie is worse than the lie itself? How do we resolve this situation? I love my sisters so damn much, they're my best friends, but this is so weird and so wrong to put on me. So The first commenter said to OP, I can't imagine any other response. I really can't. Were you seriously expected to lie along with her? I think that is shocking. OP says I have no idea what she was expecting. I have lied for her before, but saying she's at my house while she's really getting boudoir photos done for him is not the same as lying about a whole person who never existed. It's beyond bizarre. Another commenter says, I'm kind of impressed that after all of that, she managed to convince her husband that you were the liar. Of course, if he believes her, he's dumb as a brick. I'd think there is proof enough on her birth certificate, as it will state she was a single birth. OP replies saying, I will say Chase is not a dummy, and he's typically not malicious. And although nobody really backed me up about this being a lie, at least not in front of me, I think it's pretty obvious that I was telling the truth, as everyone was obviously confused and dead silent in the moment. I have not responded to the text as I'm not looking to burn bridges. I've made many mistakes and my sisters have graciously forgiven me. I'm just flummoxed and a little hurt. Commenter says, this is very weird. I'm confused at why your parents aren't embarrassed by your sister's behavior, especially trying to keep up the lie afterwards and saying you're lying. Is she mentally okay? Does she have a history of lying? OP says we all lied as kids, but I assume she grew out of it as an adult. We also all exhibited some attention-seeking behavior, but again, age-appropriate, especially for a family with 4 kids and 2 parents who worked full-time. My parents are hippies and very much live and let live kind of vibe, but this feels icky to me. So I'm a little surprised they're not more upset about it. Then again, they never punished us in front of each other, so they could be dealing with or planning to deal with the situation behind the scenes. Either way, Beth is way too old to be making up dead sibling stories. Another commenter says your sister dug herself a weird hole, is now mad she has to dig her way out of it, and is placing that anger on you for accidentally handing her the shovel. If she wants to blame anyone for being caught in a lie, she can look in the mirror. How do you fix it? Your sister has to pull her head out of her ass and apologize for putting you in that position, and then you can think about apologizing for being blunt about it. But to be honest, I don't think you did anything wrong exactly here. You had no idea what was going on, why you were being accused of being a bad person, and literally just wanted to focus back on your son's achievements. It's not like you accidentally spilled a secret you were supposed to keep. Your sister created this entire mess, and she'll probably explain to you guys why she did it. OP responds saying, I appreciate your input and kind words. I don't like drama, so I find it best to just kind of stop it in its tracks. My son, we recently got an autism diagnosis, what was formerly referred to as Asperger's, and it messed with his head a little. He's always been so bad socially and really struggled making friends. As a result, his cousins got the bulk of the attention. He was really proud of himself, and I wanted him to remember this little get-together because it was all about him for once. Commenter says, your sister is a freak weirdo. Making up a dead twin for what? Sympathy? Attention? She fucked up and everyone knows it. Why anyone would want to cover up her lie is beyond me. She made her bed, let her deal with the repercussions of this outrageous lie. Question though, did or have your parents try to set the record straight with her idiot hubby, or are they staying silent about this alleged twin baby that never existed? OP replies saying, when I told Chase she was lying, nobody backed me up, but I believe it was kind of obvious because nobody refuted my claims. That coupled with Beth frantically trying to get her husband to leave. Chase is smart. He can put 2 and 2 together. I mentioned in another comment that our parents never punished us, nor really got onto us in front of each other. So I'd like to think they're handling things on that end behind the scenes and trying to appeal to my dislike of drama and empathy to get me to forgive her. I don't find the lie unforgivable. I think it's bizarre and I don't appreciate it, but I don't think our relationship is over. I love her. I took her on her first date, took her and a boy to get ice cream and they held hands. We lied to our parents about that one. I helped take care of her when she was postpartum because Chase had to work. She's got my heart, you know. Commenter replies to that saying, just to be clear, you do recognize this level of lie as a mental health disorder, correct? While I'm not a therapist, this very much sounds like some strain of Munchausen's. Again, not therapist, just therapy adjacent in training and work, so I have some familiarity. So get her some professional help. This isn't just a cry for help, this is a sign of a broken brain that requires professional help and maybe even medical interventions. OP says I work in healthcare, albeit not directly in mental health field, but I am a little familiar with various disorders. I actually do think she's a hypochondriac. One of my nieces is always coming down with something. They're not. Well, my sister definitely has Crohn's disease. She doesn't. She won't drink milk if it's within 3 days of the best buy date. Refuses bread pudding because you use old bread to make them. Won't eat brownies I baked from scratch the day before because they're old. So I know she's got some issues. But hey, we all have issues. I'm pretty emotionally closed off, except to my spouse and children. Some people think that makes me a B. I try not to be too judgmental because I'm definitely not perfect, but I'm judging the F out of this. So after this, OP came in with their first update and said, okay, I think we have some answers re the events that occurred last night. I do want to tell everyone who took the time to give advice or kind words. Thank you. I honestly couldn't read everything. I was and am exhausted. But I did get an idea of how I wanted to approach everything, thanks to the advice given. My post says it was removed and I'm unsure why, so hopefully this one will stay. I'll get to the update in a few. I just wanted to answer some FHQ or comments real quick. 1. This is fake. I wish it was. I really wish my mind worked in a way where I could make up things like this. Alas, my imagination is lacking. 2. Your parents named you after Little Women. This is probably partially to blame for the fake comments. These are just placeholder names I used, as there are 4 sisters in that novel. My parents are hippies and gave us some pretty noticeable names. If I used our real ones, on the off chance any of our friends read this, they'd know immediately this was our family. 3. Beth is continuing to lie and Chase is believing it, and your mum and Joe threw you under the bus too. I read, Chase, I think he knew I was being truthful. Also, I said that the text came from his phone. I was actually thinking Beth sent it, as that's not Chase's vibe. And Mum and Joe, they didn't throw me under the bus, but I'll go into more detail soon. 4. Is it possible my mum had twins and just forgot or didn't know about the death? Absolutely not. I was at all of my sisters' births. I don't remember Joe's, but I do remember Beth and Amy's, and there were no multiples, no deaths, no funerals, no depression. 5. The birth certificate will prove it. It sure would, yes, but I'm not about to go strong-arm my sister into showing her husband the birth certificate. 6. Your sister is mentally ill, also the golden child, and you're the scapegoat. I'm not about to say my sister is sick, but I do think she has some issues, as we all do. There's no golden child and scapegoat in this family. My parents were and are really good about treating all of us fairly and equally. 7. You could have or should have been more tactful, pulled her aside and not called her a liar. Had I known that Tyler was my dead brother, I never would have asked who he was. Chase and I tease each other a lot, and I honestly thought he was about to come out with some kind of funny joke, like these nuts. RE, my lack of tact? I don't know. I think it's pretty lacking in tact to make up a whole dead sibling. And really, facts are facts. She lied, and that's that. The night was about my son, so I squashed the issue and chose to move forward, hoping to end the conversation with as little drama as possible. Okay, so now up to the update. After a night of barely sleeping and my blood pressure dangerously high, I called my mum this morning fully ready to let out an emotional charged tirade about how I feel they unfairly threw me under the bus and took Beth's side when she objectively did the worst thing. My mum answered the phone apologizing and asked me to just listen. When she and Joe followed Beth and Chase to Beth's bedroom, Mum did tell Chase that Tyler was not real, and this is an issue between her and Chase, and they should probably leave, because she didn't want the evening ruined. She did get on to me, but it was mostly out of sympathy and empathy for Beth, as she recognized it wasn't okay. She apologized for that. She spoke with Chase this morning, and Beth, who is the one who sent me the text from Chase's phone, finally came clean this morning after hours of denying the lie. Something I didn't mention, as I didn't feel it was pertinent to the story, is Beth's eldest daughter, Madison, isn't Chase's biological daughter. He's been around since Madison was 2. Also kind of pertinent is that Chase is a first responder. He loves to be a hero, and he's very good in that role. He met Beth doing victims advocacy, and as such, I believe they both view him as saving Beth. This has been long speculated, but it's not exactly our place to say anything, as we all love Chase and he is an amazing person. And Beth is no dummy. She picked up on Chase's hero complex immediately. It appears that, in an effort to make herself look more sympathetic, vulnerable, broken, she lied about having a twin brother that died in childbirth. I guess being in an abusive relationship and having a small child just wasn't enough. She did not have to do that. They've been together 10 years now, and not once did she come clean. To me, that proves a clear pattern of deceit and manipulation. However, I'm not going to speculate on her mental health problems or reasonings for not coming clean. That is for her and her husband to deal with. Neither of them have called or texted me to apologize, and I'm honestly unsure if they will. Beth is more of the rug-sweeping type, while I'm a confront issues head-on type. I will not be cutting my sister off for this though. I love her, and at the end of the day, I just want her to be happy and healthy. I do hope that this whole issue will cause her to rethink some of her life choices, and maybe she can get some therapy. I think we could all use therapy, to be honest. That's where we're at right now. My mum did not offer any information about how Beth and Chase are doing, and I did not ask. It's not my business. I have not heard from Joe. But Amy and I have been texting all morning, and she's been my best good friend right now and providing a lot of support. Hopefully we can all move forward and grow together in the future. Thanks again for all the support you've all sent my way. And in a moment, we have the update that came 5 months after this. But the top commenter on this one said, "I'm glad your mother apologized, but your sister really owes you and the entire family an apology. This was really selfish and a weird thing to do. She also owes Chase and his family an apology. I hope she gets some help for this. Good luck." Another commenter says, "Your sister could probably benefit from therapy. I'll never understand why people think it's a good idea to lie about something so easily disproven. Don't lie about anything and you won't have situations blow up like this. Hope she comes to her senses and apologizes to you." Another commenter says, "I think your family needs to do a sit down with your sister because this isn't normal behavior at all. She lied for 10 years about a dead brother. You'll need to call this behavior out since she's way too old to be acting like this, and doing nothing is showing her that you guys will accept similar or the same type of behavior in the future." Another commenter says, "Well, this is why she continues to do this nonsense at her big ass age. No one holds her accountable. You can't move forward and grow together if people don't take accountability. Your entire family enables her in the worst way." So, the update that came 5 months later started, well, a lot has happened in the past months. I read all your comments multiple times and I heard you. I faced some very hard truths about my family and our dynamics, but mostly, I grieved. About a month after I made my original post, my dad passed away. It was very unexpected. Massive stroke. The worst part was my mum was out of town, so my dad died alone. My son talked to him that same day. They made plans for the next week and then my dad was gone. It's been a very hard few months. I started therapy mostly to deal with navigating life without dad, but my therapist made a lot of good points about our family dynamic. Mostly that I was parentified and a people pleaser, that keeping the peace comes at a price, and that price was my needs being put on the back burner. And as a result, I keep people at arm's length because of this, and I'll be damned if she wasn't right. So let's rewind a little. During the week or so after dad died, mum was lost. They'd been married over 40 years, so no surprise there. And as the eldest sibling, I stepped up big time. Joe and I already knew a little about our parents' end-of-life wishes, and we chose to go forward with cremation. Mum agreed. This is her wish as well, as did Amy. Guess who didn't? If you guessed Beth, you'd be right. She just had a complete meltdown, wailing over how she couldn't stand the thought and will not allow it and blah blah blah. This is probably the first instance of me shutting her ass down. I told her in no uncertain terms that this wasn't her choice, it was our father's preference, and it was happening regardless. Next, she was wandering through the house, trying to pick out shit she wanted, before Mum had even given us her blessing. When she started, Mum asked her to please stop. Let us sort some stuff first, and then she will give a yes or no. When Beth asked what she needed to do to sort out, Mum mentioned Dad's watch collection. There was one specifically for my son, and when Beth inquired as to which one, Mum refused to answer. Beth insisted that wasn't fair, she should have first pick, blah blah blah. Mum and Joe apparently shut that shit down with a quickness. I wasn't there, but my son is now wearing the first luxury watch my dad ever bought. He's so proud. Don't worry though, all the grands have something special. Next, she got absolutely plastered at the end of life ceremony. Went around wailing and making literally the whole thing about her grief and how her wishes weren't respected. And before I could snap, and believe me, I was this close, Chase dragged her ass out of the venue. I'm not sure what happened. But when they got home, police were called, Beth was arrested, and my niece ended up with my mum for the night. My brother-in-law did have some bruises to back him up. Despite Beth calling us, nobody bailed her ass out. We are just done with it. She did get released on her own recognizance, and only ended up with some community service and a fine. Chase was more than willing to do therapy with her, but she started drinking even more, and as a result is being more aggressive with both him and the kids. There was another situation, and long story short, Chase is divorcing her and petitioning for full custody. He's asked us to write letters on his behalf, and I believe all of us are going to do so. I don't know what is going on with my sister, but she is on a downward spiral, and it's so sad to see. She refuses to speak with anyone, and I'm just done trying. I'd already decided to cut her off after the bullshit at Dad's end of life ceremony, but this solidified it. I won't be updating again. I'm washing my hands of all this. I hope my sister gets help, but it'll take a lot of work, and she's never been one to want to put in the work. I'm putting myself first for once, and concentrating on my children, my husband, and myself. Thanks for listening to me vent. You all are almost as good as therapy. Firstly, I just want to say I'm so sorry about your dad, and I can't imagine how devastating that is for your family at this moment in time. And it certainly sounds like Beth is on that downward spiral OP mentioned, and I think it might be one of those cases, and I know it sounds really harsh, but we've seen it in stories time and time again, that it takes rock bottom. It might be one of those ones where it's going to take her hitting rock bottom before she can rebuild from anything. And as always, no excuse for what she's did and what she's doing, but I hope she does get some help in the end, because she absolutely needs help for her sake. Sounds like she's having some sort of mental health crisis that she needs assistance with. But also, she's a mum to kids who didn't ask for any of this, and they deserve a parent who is healthy and stable and looking after them to the best of their ability, not someone spiraling, getting angry, and, drinking more and more to the point of, sounds like addiction. And Chase deserves the same as well. But at the same time, I don't blame OP one bit for putting herself and her family first, taking a step back from this, because it's absolutely wild, isn't it? Not quite to the same level as we're seeing in this story, but I got a friend who has a brother who absolutely just can't help but lie. I say he can't help, he probably can help it in some way, but he just lies all the time and just ties himself in knots. My mate, his brother, is obviously concerned, but it's just sort of over it as well with the lies, because it's just become so normal. He told me once about how he lied about his work. He wanted some time off work, so he said he had a broken leg. I mean, of all things, he went for a broken leg. So he phoned in, it was a physical job apparently, or something along those lines, so he needed a few weeks off. 2 weeks later, this guy goes into town where his workplace is literally just round the corner from this town, and he was spotted by some of his colleagues just strolling through town. He was phoned later in the day saying that he had been spotted, and he basically panicked and told him it healed really fast, like a sort of miracle recovery. Apparently he got a warning for that. I don't know if they can sack him for that or not, or they have to give him a warning beforehand. And lies about people in his workplace at the same time as well, like treated badly by one of the colleagues without even thinking, this information is likely to get around. Like he was saying, this woman was really rude to him, and this got back to her, and apparently she's like the sweetest woman you could meet, and there's no logic behind why. It's like, why are you doing this? But he just doubles down and says, no, that's what happened. I mean, obviously there's a chance it did happen, but given his history, and my mate's told me so many stories about him, every time I meet up there's a new story about him, and you just end up thinking, why? But holy moly, what about you guys? Have you ever met someone who just can't help themselves lying like that? I mean, it's not all about that in this particular story, but it just took me down along those lines at the end. Let us know your thoughts down in the comments below. Now, just a huge thank you for being here today, getting involved in the stories, your love, your support, your time. It always means the absolute world to me. So thank you so much, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and much love.